best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's a quote by Peter Drucker. Time is precious, time is money. And this is a time for Money Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Good day, viewers, and welcome to a fresh episode of Atn Business on Atlantic Television Network right here in the city of Port Harcourt. This is the network's medium of bringing the happenings in the economic sector of the society to our discerning viewers. This program and correspondence reports of 14 local governments, slumming stocks tempt buyer to brave rocky markets. By the end of the show, you can be rest assured of being informed accurately of financial activities around the world. I am your host, Wendy Aguma. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we will out the details. Don't go anywhere.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back. Now let's go into market reports, local and international business news for today. Central Bank of Nigeria has auctioned $876.26 million to end users whose bids were submitted by 26 commercial banks in the Apex Bala for the retail auction. He also said all end user accounts will be funded with the Naira equivalent of their bids, while settlement for the successful bid is scheduled for Thursday, August 8, 2024, adding that the total bid valued at $1.18 billion was received from 32 authorized dealers, banks, while bids valued at $313.69 million from 6 banks were disqualified. The Naira has come under pressure through seasonal demand from summer tourism, as well as businesses seeking the Green Park to bring in goods in the Federal Government of Nigeria has introduced its Series 1 domestic USD bond to raise a minimum of $500 million from both local and international investors, while the government aims to double its initial offer, targeting $1 billion in subscriptions through this bond auction. However, this auction comes at a time when 5 of Nigeria's Eurobonds were ranked among the worst performers in a Bloomberg index of emerging and frontier sovereign debts, while the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, has earlier affirmed that he would issue $500 million domestic foreign currency-dominated bonds in August, adding that the government needs to attract savings from Nigerians held abroad. The circular said the bond program has a total size of up to $2.0 billion, which can be upsized depending on the user's discretion, and the bond has a 5-year tenure, offering a medium-term investment opportunity for investors looking for stable returns. It was also said the bond's coupon rate is benchmarked to comparable FG and European Eurobonds yields, ensuring competitive returns that align with international market standards, while interest payments will be made semi-annually, providing regular income streams to investors and enhancing the bond's appeal. The bond offers bullet repayment at maturity in US dollars, ensuring full repayment of the principal amount at the end of the 5-year term, adding that the bond is open to Nigerians and non-Nigerians residents in Nigeria, as well as Nigerians in the diaspora and qualified institutional investors. Value of foreign exchange turnover in the first 6 months of the year on the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Fixing rose by 35.79% to $52.78 billion. This was based on an analysis of the monthly market report from the FMDQ Securities Exchange, where the official foreign exchange market is domiciled. FX turnover is the sum value of all transactions performed in the foreign exchange market in January, reflecting increased trading activities in the forex market in the period under review, while the analyzed data indicated that in the half-year, March recorded the highest turnover of $12.61 billion, with the Naira trading at an average of 1,524.04% per dollar, lower than the $8.95 billion turnover for the same month in 2023. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, Economic Report of February 2024, released recently, the average foreign exchange turnover grew by 180.47% in 1 year to $240.64 billion at the end of February. The CBN also declared reintroducing the willing buyer, willing seller model at the INE window, which allows eligible transactions to access foreign exchange based on currency has remained unstable since it was floating, despite spirited efforts by the CBN under Dr. Olayemi Kodoso to stabilize it. Nigerian Customs Service Apapa Area Command says it generated a total of 1.23 trillion naira revenue between January and July 2024. A statement by the command also said it collected 202 billion naira as revenue for July, stressing that the figure is the highest monthly collection in the history of the service. The Customs Area Controller of the Command, Batunde Olumu, said the command is committed to surpassing the existing records of revenue collection, and the revenue collected in the first 7 months of 2024 is higher than the total revenue collected for the whole of 2023. Olumu attributed the success to the implementation of the time release study by the Controller General of Customs at Adewale Adeniyi, which aimed to facilitate trade without delay, adding that the move yielded outstanding results, which reflected in the command's revenue collection. The Apapa Customs Boss vowed that the command is committed to doing more in line with the directives and motivating examples of the Controller General of Customs. Nigeria Ports Authority says it exported 20 food equivalent units through the Lagos Ports Complex in Apapa, Lagos, increased by 40% from 50,000 in 2022 to 70,000 in 2023. The port manager of the LPC, Charles Okaga, said the port was better positioned to support international trade within and outside Africa, added that the management of the NPA was collaborating with sister agencies and private sector operators to ensure the port met user needs. He said the figures showed a 20,000 increase achieved through the enabling business environment created in partnership with the Nigerian Customs Service and other government agencies and stakeholders, and exports is a very critical element of the national economy, particularly with the government's agenda of diversification of the economy to non-oil exports, stressing that Nigeria's largest port complex is ready to participate and contribute to the African continental free trade area. He also said the management of NPA had put measures in place to remove all difficulties associated with import and export through the port, and the port utilized intermodal means to convey goods either by road, rail or barges, and serve as a one-stop area of transit for foreign trade, stressing that the agency encouraged the movement of export cargo through all the modes of transportation. He said the development had spurred the growth the agency recorded, while expressing hope. Nigerian Ports Police Authority Command Western Zone says the port experienced property losses and damages amounting to over 141 million naira in the first half of 2024. Deputy Commissioner of Police Operators, Port Authority Police Command Western Zone Ibrahim Abdul, who disclosed this during the recent Nigeria Port Consultative Council's quarterly meeting held in Lagos, said the period saw a total of 57 cases, leading to the arrest of 103 suspects. According to Abdul, constant raids on criminal hideouts, vehicular and foot patrols, and intensive surveillance and intelligence gathering assisted the security situation within the ports from January to June as relatively stable due to various crime prevention measures implemented by the command, adding that out of the 57 cases, 26 were charged to court, 27 remained under investigation, while 3 have been closed, adding that the arrests were disrupted across the division, with Port CIID Apapa accounting for the highest number of arrests at 42. He also said the Apapa terminal operator on Atn Multipurpose Terminal says it has again received for the second time Kota Simpaka, the largest container ship ever to carry out full operations at Nigeria's eastern port. The statement by the terminal operator said the second visit of the ship to the terminal in 3 months, adding that Kota Simpaka, owned by Pacific International Lines, is 300 meters long and can carry 660,000 20-foot equivalent units of container, while the ship made its maiden visit to the Onne port on April 27, 2024, when it loaded and discharged over 2,000 containers full of Nigerian imports and exports. The Chief Operating Officer of OMT Onne, Jim Stewart, expressed gratitude to the Nigerian Ports Authority for ensuring that the vessel was able to berth successfully, stressing that the visit of Kota Simpaka to Nigeria would support the efforts of the federal government to diversify the country's economic base by boosting non-oil exports. He also said it will also generate more revenues into the coffers of the government, stressing that the arrival of such large vessels is part of a global trend. West shipping versus sabotage in the petroleum industry, the Senate has raised questions over $1.5 billion approved in 2021 for the turnaround maintenance of the Port Harcourt refinery with little or no result. Consequently, the upper chamber said it was unfair and wrong to treat government businesses or public companies as an orphan while private businesses were flourishing and thriving. The leader of the Senate and chairman, Senate's ad hoc committee to investigate the alleged committee economic sabotage in the Nigerian petroleum industry, Senator Oyemi Bamidele, raised the questions at the session with stakeholders in the industry at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja, which was attended by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, Group Managing Director, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Malamele Kyari, Chief Executive Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Benga Komolafe, and Chief Executive Office, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, among others. The Federal Executive Council has approved a plan by the Ministry of Petroleum Resources to rehabilitate and turn around the Port Harcourt refinery with a whopping sum of $1.5 billion. Under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, adding that despite the huge investment, the government-owned refinery is yet to function effectively, a situation that compelled the country to depend almost entirely on the importation of petroleum products. At the session with stakeholders, however, Bamidele expressed grave concerns about the dysfunctionality of the government. He said the development was to harness the economic potential of Nigeria's power sector and called for increased collaboration across various ministries and sectors, adding that the sector's crucial role in driving economic growth and industrialization, aligning with President Bola Tinubu's vision, and also underscored the necessity of interministerial collaboration to achieve these objectives. He also said the Power Ministry is working closely with the Ministry of Environment, Water Resources and Sanitation, Budget and Planning and Petroleum Resources, particularly the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Utsev, echoed the sentiment, adding the Ministry of Water Resources and the Ministry of Power are like brothers and sisters and can possibly work together to achieve the renewable energy agenda of the President, making life better for Nigerians. Adilibo outlined the terms of reference for the working group, which include activating seamless power sector liquidity and financing, providing guidance in the government structure of electricity distribution companies, and focusing on the economic transition program to achieve net zero emission by 2060. Lagos State Magistrate Court in Ejibo has sentenced two suspects for vandalizing transformers belonging to Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company. A statement by the IKEDC spokesperson, Kingsley Okotie, said the convict Michael Aladesiu Street, Ebeda, Lagos, under the Omo Shore 11 kVA feeder, while the second convicted person, Ishola Olatunji, was sentenced to 6 months for attempting to vandalize the transformer on Karimu Laka Street, Ebeda, Lagos, under the Ore 11 kV feeder. Okotie said Alido was apprehended by a security guard and handed over to the police after he was found tampering with the transformer cables and was arraigned at Magistrate Court 1, Ejibo, on June 14, 2024 for willful damage to transformer cables, contrary to Section 339 and punishable on expressed satisfaction and hope that the sentence will serve as a deterrent to other potential vandals. Experts and stakeholders in the country's oil and gas sector have lamented the bottlenecks facing their quest to comply with regulatory procedures. The stakeholders who disclosed these at the Nigerian Council's 47th Nigerian Annual International Conference and Exhibition in Lagos regretted that the regulatory bottlenecks have continued to suffocate the sector while it is the most regulated in the country, adding that over 40 regulators are currently overseeing the sector, and stressed the need for regulations to be more digitized in order to ensure ease. Faladay applauded the regulators for the support that indigenous firms have enjoyed from the regulators, adding that there is room for improvement, and called for a reduction in time frame for securing approvals. In the same vein, the Executive Director of Owanda PLC, on his part, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission Chief Executive Benga Komolafe said it is entrenching collaboration with the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and other key stakeholders to deepen end-to-end value in critical areas of operations within the oil and gas sectors of the economy, adding that the effort to foster regulatory alignment in this respect will stimulate further activities for domestic energy security in the short term, as well as the optimization of the midstream and downstream segments is not merely an option but an inevitable. Nigeria Labour Congress has urged the federal government to implement policies that would alleviate the suffering of Nigerians. President of NLC, Joe Ajero, who disclosed this in a communique jointly signed by Emmanuel Obwaja, NLC General Secretary, at the end of an emergency meeting in Abuja, advised the federal government to access the welfare that have led to the current economic crisis, while for accountability, NEC calls for an independent investigation into the killings and maiming of protesters. He urged the federal government to engage in meaningful dialogue with representatives of the protesters, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders, and called on the government to implement immediate relief measures to alleviate the suffering of workers and the general populace. He called for the provision of direct food aid, subsidies on essential commodities, and other social safety nets, while NEC directs all work. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram, and Zamfara State Auditor General has presented the 2023 report on the 14 local government Council's account to the State House of Assembly for review. This is coming after the report was deliberated upon during Wednesday's plenary session, which was presented by the House Majority Leader, Honorable Bello Muhammad Mazawaje Safe, and seconded by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Adamu Ali Gumi. Mazawaje said the presentation of the Auditor General's financial report on the local government council was very crucial to allow the state lawmakers to deliberate and take necessary steps, while two lawmakers, Honorable Riwanu Marafa Nagambo of Anka and Honorable Maikalu Aliyu Dangulbui of Maru South constituencies, highlighted the importance of examining the report to ensure its quality and accuracy before approval. The lawmakers suggested that the House Public Accounts Committee should be assigned with responsibility of a detailed study of the reports to ensure constituencies, Honorable Haliru Abdullahi Kuturu and Nura Dahiru Sabon Benin, respectively. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has insisted it is not short of the premium motor spirit or petrol. Chief Corporate Communications Officer Olufemi Sonaye, who confirmed this, also said he was yet to know if there were supply issues in the petrol market and is not aware if marketers lament unavailability of the product to loan and sell at their petrol stations. He vowed to get in touch with the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to find out the state of PMS distribution in the country, while retail outlets across the Federal Capital Territory were under lock and key yesterday for lack of the products, and this resulted in very long queues in the few petrol stations, mostly NNPCL, that vended the products. Black marketers were on different expressways selling the petrol for as much as 10 express road and corn oil by Ikeja along have very long queues. Automated system, the Consumer Protection Department portal, is expected to assist NCAA staff in collating passengers' complaints, resolving and disseminating feedback to airlines promptly. The authority said the portal will help resolve complaints of flight delays or cancellation, missing luggage, ticket refund, and other issues that airline users may encounter. Acting NCAA Director General Captain Chris Najomo, at a training organized for staff members at the NCAA headquarters in Abuja ahead of the launch of the portal, said the portal will make it easy for the authority to resolve complaints of the passengers. Captain Najamo, who was represented by the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection of the authority, Michael Achimugu, said that, and it will put a strain on the staff because data has been a major issue in Nigeria, while the Deputy General Manager of the ICT Department of NCAA, Akugo Mbekwere, said the switch from a manual process to an automated portal will enhance service delivery. Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin has sacked the ad hoc community probing NNPC Limited after weeks of infighting among themselves. This is coming after the House had been divided between lawmakers due to the tax he was given by the House. Investigating the alleged importation of adulterated petroleum products, the acquisition of Oando's asset by NNPC Retail, the dispute between Dangote Refinery and NNPC Limited, and other issues. However, the responsibility of probing NNPC Limited became the water scarcity. Petroleum products are available, and that the regulators and NNPC Limited had assured them that the scarcity was temporary, and consequently the House following another motion in Abuja, Lagos, and other parts of the country. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Private Sector Co-Chair of the NESG's Sustainability Policy Commission Steering Committee, Osage Okumbo, in Nigeria, a comprehensive approach, and also emphasized the compound fragility risk in northern Nigeria, where desertification is southeast, erosion is damaging road infrastructure, and